10th, 2021. It is, oh, I don't have the time.
7:02.
7:02, okay. In accordance with the governor's order suspending certain provisions of the open meeting law, MGL C 30A, paragraph 20, relating to the 2020 novel coronavirus outbreak emergency. This meeting, public meeting, is not physically to avoid any kind of group congestion. Alternate public access meetings shall be made utilizing the Zoom meeting software. And this will allow users to view the meeting and comment or question the chair via raise your hand function. And the meeting will be recorded for future broadcast by Norfolk Community Television. And to the extent of this, when the public has something to say, please give your first name, last name, and your full address, including town. And that way we can document it. So the first thing on our agenda is Keolis Commuter Services. Is somebody here from Keolis? I don't see anybody.
Yeah, this is Matt Donovan from FTC
Matt.
Engineers.
Okay. I think we're ready to proceed. I lost my. No.
David, if I may,
You may.
at the last meeting, we got the updated maps, the colored versions with the tracks marking people's wells and resource areas. Because
Yeah.
we had just gotten it in, we decided to continue to this meeting so the public had a chance to look at those maps as well, in case they had any concerns. I haven't heard or had any contact with anyone from the public hating or loving the map, so I think we're okay with those.
Okay.
So I think we're all set to issue a determination.
Okay. Okay, here we go. So, Matt, what we've are looking to do is, if we follow what was done in 2016, is a negative determination on number 5, I should say, in the areas described as subject to protection under the Act. Since work meets requirements for the following exemption, no notice of intent is required. And we reference 310 CMR 10.03 6B, and then 310 CMR 10.03 6C. And number 1, 310 CMR 10.03 general provisions 6, presumption concerning application of herbicides within the buffer zone shall be presumed not to alter an area subject to protection. And number 2, 310 CMR 10.03 general provision 6, presumption concerning application of herbicides for management of right-of-way within a riverfront area, provided performed as required under 333 CMR 11 right-of-way management. And then we'll have a positive determination number 2A, the boundary.
No, that was if people didn't feel comfortable doing the negative determination, they could do the positive where we basically agree with resources.
Okay.
And another option is both. A lot of communities do both, but either.
Okay. they don't cancel each other out. And the second one does talk about the boundaries. And since we went through the colored maps and things, it may be prudent to put that on, which is positive determination 2A, boundary delineations are confirmed accurate and binding to all decisions rendered pursuant to the Wetland Protection Act and regulations. Any discussion, Matt?
No. Is there any discussion from any of the members of the commission on that?
Okay, is any commission members have something to say? Questions?
I'm seeing none.
Okay, public, is there someone in the audience that would like to talk about this? Okay, seeing none. I'll accept a motion for what was just read.
I'll make a motion as stated.
You
Seconded. Alan Finney, seconded.
Okay, any further discussion from the commissioners? From the audience? We'll take a roll call vote. Dave Turi, aye.
Fair aye.
Alex Whiteside, aye.
Jim Wilson, aye.
Allstone, aye.
Alan
Fred
Finney,
LaBerge,
aye.
aye. Fred LaBerge, aye.
Okay, it passes. When do they, Janet, when will the paperwork be ready?
We need the signatures, so whenever we get the signatures from the members.
Okay. If everybody could sign it, I won't be able to. So, please sign it and get it to the office. And then the office will contact you, Matt.
Perfect.
Do we have your contact information?
Yes, Janet has my email.
Okay. Very good.
Great. Thank you, everyone. Have a great night.
Thank you.
Welcome. Thank you. Okay, 705 Valentine Drive. Zach,
I'm here.
what would you like to? Is your neighbor here?
Yes, we're here.
Okay. What have you gotten for anything from your engineer?
So I've tried to reach out to the engineer multiple times. I believe somebody else from conservation has as well, and we have not yet received our report yet. Multiple emails, multiple phone calls, and kind of reached a stone wall. I spoke with somebody in conservation recently about it, and we might have to explore other options.
Yeah. Is Joyce normally like this, Janet?
I'm sorry, what?
Is Joyce Hastings normally non-responsive?
I was the one who called the office today. I looked up their address, got the phone number, called there, and being totally honest, the person who answered, because I said, is Joyce Hastings there? Yes, she is. I said, can I talk with her, please? And who's calling? And I gave my name and where I was from. And then she came back to the phone and told me Joyce was out doing site visits or out doing field work, and she'd give her the message. And I still haven't heard. So I think we're having some sort of horrible breakdown that's not being explained to us.
Okay. So
We're
are you
trying to
going-
move forward, David, because
What-
I've been talking with Zach. And where the neighbors, I believe, had the property line delineated between the two parcels, between 18 and 16, because they also, I think, did the other side. So it could be that the whole street has the wrong perception of where their properties are, but regardless, Zach does know that he has still on 18 Valentine. He has, and he's, I don't want to say he's anxious, but he has no problem with getting somebody in with a piece of equipment to get that fill off of their property and pull it up onto his property, just to try to start whittling away and eliminating some of these issues that are hanging here.
Okay. Zach, so that's what Janet said is what you'd like to do?
I would, with your permission and the Gill bodies as well.
Yeah. Okay. Jason and Joanne?
I don't know. I mean, our attorney is also on the line, Matt. Matt, I'd like to hear your thoughts on this.
Hi, good evening. This is Matt Watsky. I mean, it's perfectly appropriate to have the fill material removed from the Gill bodies property, but it seems to me there ought to be some sort of a plan in place for how it's going to take place, so that we all know that the right amount of fill is removed and that the work that's done doesn't cause other problems like erosion. And then that the area gets restored. So I don't think it's as simple as just going out there with somebody with a backhoe and to start digging. It ought to be done with a plan in place, that whether it's a plan, on a sheet of paper that's 24 by 36, that's a plan view of the property, or a plan as in a written narrative that says this is how it's going to be done. Perhaps a combination of both, but there ought to be something that explains how it's going to be done and how problems are going to be avoided before the work is done. That's all.
Okay. Janet, is that something you could work with Zach on? To develop a plan?
Yep.
And also, I guess, the timing of when it might be appropriate to go ahead and start doing it?
Yeah, I think Zach has photos from before the fill went in, so that would be helpful for, a comparison for where we're at now.
Yeah.
So, and then seeing what's out there now, and then also to where, when you're heading back to the native or whatever, the pre-existing soils that are there,
Yes. Okay. Does anybody else on the commission have something to say? Questions? So Jason and Joanne and Matt, if Janet and Zach come up with a plan and get it to both parties, and we get your consensus that, okay, this is what's going to take place, then we can get that going, and we don't have to, I wouldn't want to wait until the May meeting to have to go over the plan. If you're in agreement with it, and Janet has basically endorsed it, then we'll proceed with it. We'll let Zach do it.
Right. Well, the devil is always in the details, Mr. Chairman. So
Yes.
we're happy to take a look at what Janet and Zach put together to describe
Okay.
how the work is going to be done, and then how the area will be stabilized and revegetated, and try to cooperate as much as possible, because
Okay.
we understand it's something the commission wants to have done. Right.
Yeah, trying to keep it simple, but effective, that things are corrected and both parties are agreeable that it's fine.
Okay. If I could just ask for a clarification, I think I just heard that the proposal right now is just to remove the fill from off of the Gill bodies property. Is that correct? Because if not, if that's correct, I want to know what's the plan for removing fill from resource areas that's on the Clafkins property.
I figured this is a good, I don't know if I'd say good faith, but to show you what it's been very frustrating not getting the stuff from GLM.
Okay.
So I figured at least getting the fill off just to see, we're trying to get this taken care of. Everybody wants this taken care of. Let's start with this. I have some other stuff up my sleeves, but I'm afraid to say anything in case those fall through too. But Zach and I can get this together. And what I would like to do is email it to the Guild bodies and to you, Matt, for review first to make sure it's okay. And then get a verbal, it's okay, before something happens, before anything gets undertaken.
All right, Janet, I look forward to seeing what you write up.
Yep, and as we make progress with other stuff, we'll be in touch.
Okay.
Jane, and I would add to that, I would like to see a email confirming the acceptance of the plan.
Certainly.
So that's in the record that all parties are agreeable to it on this date in 2021, whenever the plan gets out there. Anybody else have something to say? Okay, we'll keep this open and continue it until the next meeting. And again, once a plan is put in place, we'll let you go ahead and start working on it. Conditions that are good for removing fill and having equipment out there. Well, Stephanie, why don't we put this at 7 o'clock? And when is our next meeting?
April 14th,
Okay.
13th or 14th?
14.
Okay. So yeah, let's put 16 Valentine Drive on at 7 o'clock on the 14th. So I'll entertain a motion to continue this until May 14th.
April.
I'm sorry, April 14th.
I make a motion to continue 16 Valentine Drive enforcement order discussion until 7 p.m. on April 14th.
Fred LaBerge, I'll second.
Okay, Fred was a second. Any further discussion from the commissioners? From the audience? Roll call, Dave Turi, aye.
Kelly Frere, aye.
Alex Whiteside, aye.
Jim Wilson, aye.
Val Stone, aye.
Alan Finney, aye.
Fred LaBerge, aye.
Okay, it passes. So we'll see you next month at 7:05, and we'll, look forward to seeing what has taken place.
All right. Very
Thank you for being here tonight.
good. Thank you, folks. Have a good evening.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome. Okay, what time is it?
7:20.
7:20, okay. 180 Union Street, 240-0635, a proposed pool. Are the landowners here?
I'm
here.
Yes.
Okay. Where
So-
does this stand, Janet?
We just, I'm not sure the date. Maybe this past week, we just got that whole big packet from John Glossa, Karen Skinner. So to hopefully continue this to the next meeting so we can go through the package and then I can get the order of conditions ready or
Okay.
get feedback if there's any feedback or concerns from members.
Okay. Go ahead, owners.
Well, can I speak?
Oh, John, I'm sorry.
Yeah, it's, Mark DiFilippo and his wife had originally hired a Charlie Parr, and, you know, Charlie's a good guy, but mostly Charlie just, or Charlie, you know, installs compost sock and does other sort of physical environmental projects. He's very familiar with wetlands and, but I think he sort of tried to fill out a notice of intent application and you know, just didn't quite get it right. So he had contacted Karen Skinner-Catroni, and then she contacted me just mostly to look, you know, to converse with Janet and to sort of review the plan and see what is going on. And I did, if you want, I did send it to you, Stephanie. Did you get it, Stephanie, by any chance, or?
Yes.
I sent it around 7 o'clock. I don't want to make a big deal out of it, but I just tried to make it, and I do feel a little uncomfortable working on a plan with someone else's stamp, but this is the plan that the board approved, or it was the plan that went with the order of conditions for the construction or reconstruction of the house. And at that time, there was a certain amount of area that was impacted, riverfront area. And what I did was identify where that is, which you can see it's the compost sock, right? And I was just looking, I put limit of previously allowed altered area, but it was the previous allowed alter area. And it's the compost sock, and that area impacted 9,427 square feet, so about 8.1% of the riverfront area. And I'm reading from Janet's letter, so I know that's correct. And so you can see I sort of colored up the pool, the patio around the pool, in the area that will, it's sort of already grassed, but let's just say the area that will be converted to grass. So there's two areas there. Their total is 2,740 square feet. So there's going to be 2,470 square feet of altered area. But of that, 1,192 square feet are within the area that was previously allowed to be altered. So the new alteration is 1,558 square feet, which is less than, you know, bringing the total alteration of the site within the riverfront area to 10%. So there's 2,149 square feet left that could be altered, and the applicants would like to alter 1,548 square feet of that to build the pool, the patio, and some lawn area that actually exists as lawn, because I did a site visit here in the back of the house.
Okay.
I think, you know, and then the rest of the things, as far as I know, and Janet's going to confirm this, obviously, but the fees were paid. I think originally the riverfront area of it wasn't paid. The newspaper ad was paid, and the abutters were notified.
Okay, and so Janet has your packet, so she needs to review that and then send it out to the members so we can look at it and get educated on exactly what's going on and the different positions regarding it. So what I'd like to do is continue this until next month on the 14th at 7:10 again. And we should be in a better position to act on it. Right, Janet? Don't you think, possibly?
I hope so.
Yeah. So it won't be much of a delay. If that's acceptable to everybody, to John and.
Well, it's certainly acceptable to me, Mr. Chairman. I think that the board does, you know, should take the opportunity to digest. I mean, it's for me, it's a little odd because usually I'm kind of working on my own plan.
Yeah,
But I did try to identify, I'm pretty sure I understand this plan, exactly what happened, so, or what was allowed before, exactly what this plan is telling everybody. And so I did identify, all of those square footages that I just told you.
okay.
But I think the board should definitely, take a look at it, make sure that it's, what I'm telling you.
Hey,
Okay,
John, I do have one question, John. On the right-hand side of the garage, if you look at the map,
Yep,
there's an open garage bay. So it's just a roof, 2 poles, and gravel. But that doesn't appear to be on this plan.
okay.
If you look at the house from Union Street, it's like
Yeah,
the house, the
I-
garage,
on the
and
right
then
side.
like a lean,
Okay.
portal,
yeah. So I don't know, even if that were not included in your original estimates, I still think that you've got enough room to play to add that in. My only,
Well, I think
Yeah,
it's a
I don't-
legitimate question. We need to, I'll, measure that up and make sure that it was either part of, either within the area or not within the area, and give you the numbers. And then, really I guess we can kind of amend it on the fly, but really the notice of intent should identify that, right? So we probably do it by a letter
yeah,
to the
it's,
board.
my
but
only
you-
concern would be if one of the neighbors, wanted to say, well, what about this addition, or this isn't on the map, and at least we have it identified in our NOI and our orders and your calculations, so they're clear in case there's another, they go to apply for another addition or to finish off that third bay and make it enclosed. We've already had encompassed that as part of the disturbed or non-disturbed area.
No, I understand. I think that's certainly part of the regulation, and it should be shown, and it should be, calculated as far as the square footage and how that relates to the 10% of the riverfront area. I mean, that's the regulation. It's not 11%, it's 10%. So we need to stay, we need to stay below that. Right?
good point, Jim. Anybody else?
Very
have
good point,
anything
thank you.
to Discussion? Anybody in the audience? Okay, I'll accept a motion to continue 180 Union Street
Continue.
to 4/14 at 7:10 PM.
I make motion, Jim Wilson, I make a motion to continue 180 Union Street, NOI 240-0635 to 7:10 PM on April 14th.
Second,
Ally Fair, second.
any further discussion from the audience? Roll call vote, Dave Turi, aye.
Ally Fair, aye.
Alex Whiteside, aye.
Jim Wilson, aye.
Ballstone, aye.
Al Finney, aye.
Fred LaBerge, aye.
Okay, it passes. We'll see you next month.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you, members of the board, and thanks, Stephanie.
Thank you. I would like to thank you, and I'm sorry about the mix-up with Mr. Pa. He had me, I thought he was all set. I didn't think it was this intent, but sorry about the mix-up, and we'll get it right.
That's okay.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's on its path to being the correct way and getting approved for you.
All right, great. Thanks, John. I'll be in touch.
Okay, Mark, thank you. Good night, everybody.
Good night.
Right.
Okay, 144 Seacon Street, 240, 638 is asked for a continuance until next month. So let's put them at 7:15. And I'll accept a motion for that.
Hey, David,
Yes,
I did We talked a little bit about the roundabouts on the last meeting, so
Yeah.
I emailed Rich McCarthy and talked to him for a little bit over the month. And just for the members for information, the town determines that there's a 500-foot limit off a main road before you can, for a dead end. So this is beyond the 500 feet. That's why the town is requiring that it's a loop for safety wise. So I guess for our information is, do we want it to limit the road to 500 feet? Or do we do the proper things through the wetlands based on what's allowed by the two different versions of the 40B? So I guess I just wanted that as
Yeah,
for the members, so we just could kind of contemplate that and then be prepared for the questions that we get as to why we have to have the bridge through the wetlands because of the length of the road and the safety issues coming off the
Okay.
three.
Rich isn't on the meeting, is he? What I'd like to know is where 500 feet ends.
That's my question too, because that would, I mean, is it halfway through? I mean, because then it becomes to the point, if we don't want to disturb the wetlands, where does the cul-de-sac end?
Yeah,
That 500 feet on each road.
okay, I'll get a hold of Rich tomorrow and have him do a little calculations and provide us with a map marked up with the 500-foot marks. And we can chew on that for the month. And then when the applicant comes back, we can, we'll be prepared.
That sounds like a good plan.
So again, I'll accept a motion to continue 144 Seekonk Street until 7:15 on the April 14th.
I make a motion, Jim Olson, I make a motion to continue 144 Seekonk Street, NOI 240-0638 to 7:15 PM on April 14th.
14th. Is there a second? Right?
Wellstone, I second.
Okay. Any further discussion? Is there any discussion from the audience? Roll call, Dave Turi, aye.
Sally Frere, aye.
Alex Whiteside, aye.
Jim Wilson, aye.
Wellstone, I.
Alan Finney, aye.
Fred LaBerge, aye.
Okay, it passes. All right, that brings us to the Eagle Scout projects. How do you pronounce your last name?
Dedasis.
Dasis, okay. Has everybody looked at what they provided to us? And, okay. Peter, why don't you talk about your project?
So my project is regarding a pathway in Fales Park over a wetland.
Excuse me, Stephanie, go
Yes.
down where there's a picture of the park. Yeah, I guess. Yeah, go up. Oh, okay, okay, yeah, right there. Thank you. Go ahead, Peter.
So that part of the park tends to be a little marshy, especially like now when the snow is melting, it's kind of runs into the pond. And in 2014, there was a walkway that was made there. However, it's rotted out. So now my plan is to recreate that walkway and make it so it won't rot away.
So build a bridge? Or
Yes.
is it a walkway?
It's not really a bridge. It's more like it's a yeah, a walkway.
Okay. And how long is that? Will it that be?
About 8 feet, 6 to 8 feet.
Oh, okay. And you use pressure treated?
Yeah, pressure treated, non-toxic.
Yeah. Okay.
The only thing you have to be careful, Peter, is you can't be more than 2 feet off the ground, or the state requires you to have railings. So as long as you keep
Okay.
it under 2 feet, then you don't need to have railings.
Yes, it will be. Okay. So I just have a question as to the extent of clearing out, not really the whole area, but just under where I will create the walkway, as so the water can run through a little better and prevent the rotting of the wood. Is that like in my ability to do that?
Janet?
Yeah.
Thank you. I was out there, and to you and your father, thank you so much for the flags. They were just so visible. I would have appreciated you gotten rid of the ice down over on the road to get up here. But my concern is if you could just maybe just watch your height to see if you could bring it up a little bit higher, because you know, if you're going to go cross this on the left hand side, you see all that water over there.
Yeah.
That might be what they call a vernal pool, which is like a temporary spring pool where amphibians, turtle, everybody goes in to lay their eggs. So I have concerns if you clear out that area, that's going to drain that water area. So if you kind of,
okay.
if you look at the ground before here and after, I think you can, I'm not a builder. I nail a lot, but I don't really build. But if you had maybe like a 4x4 or 6x6, just to kind of bring that up, so you have that crosswalk, and just leave that stuff underneath. You can see on the other side how it eventually goes right over to the lake there. But to pull that stuff out, I'm afraid you'll be draining that whole water area that's to the left of here.
Right. That's we were originally gonna make it 6 feet, but then it was decided that 8 feet would like 8 feet long would allow it to be higher up.
But it's good because even when I went to cross here, I stepped on one of those logs and it tipped. So I was chuckling if your ears were burning, but you know, something, it'd be nice to have something there so people can keep continuing on their walk. But if you could just not clear out that area underneath, you know, it's kind of important to the creatures that are there.
All right.
Thank you.
And by doing that, he doesn't have to clear anything on the, correct?
Okay.
Do the commissioners have any questions, comments? Anybody in the audience? Okay. I'll accept a motion to accept Peter's Eagle Scout project to build build a new walkway over the wet area as designated on the map and photos.
Bellstone, so moved.
Al Finney, seconded.
Any other questions, comments? Okay, roll call. Dave Turi, aye.
Ali Farah, aye.
Alex Whiteside, aye.
Jim Wilson, aye.
Bellstone, aye.
Al Finney, aye.
Fred LaBerge, aye.
Okay, it passes, Peter. We look forward to seeing your progress. When do you think you'll start?
We're gonna take a look at like the whole area probably this weekend and bring 1 8-foot long plank to kind of measure out how it's gonna look when we set it all up.
Are you
So
going to build it on site?
we're going to cut the wood at my house, and then we are going to assemble it and on the site.
Oh, okay. Fair enough. Well, good luck. We look forward to seeing the result.
Thank you.
Now, your brother, Christian,
Yes.
you're looking to put a new picnic table.
Yeah, I'm looking to put a picnic table on the area that's titled like the Grove on the map, and
Mhm.
also hang up some signs to like help people who are going through the park like on their way.
What kind of signs?
Just like guide signs at like the entrance and at other like areas throughout
You
it.
mean like arrows?
That, and I think they'll have like names of the like just different names on them.
Like what? I'm not following you. Different names, the trails?
Yeah, they'll be like that. They'll be like just trail guides.
Okay. All right, and that'd be for all the trails?
I believe so, yeah.
Okay.
Did you want to tell them that we have arrows?
The historical commission has the signs already for me, so
Oh,
I'll
do
just be using
Oh.
those, hanging those up.
Oh, that makes it easy.
Yeah.
Any other questions or comments from the commissioners? Excuse me.
If I could just make a comment, going through the diagrams for all the cutting and drilling and angles and, you know, that's quite a project. I was even checking with the building department. That's, when you keep going, I'm sorry, I wouldn't have the patience for that. I just would not have the patience.
Thank you.
Anybody from the audience have any questions, comments? Okay, hearing none, I'll accept a motion to
Awesome.
accept Christian's Eagle Scout project to build a new picnic table for Fells Park and the installation of trail signs.
Alex Fred Leb-
Whiteside, so moved.
Fred LaBerge, second.
Any other comments? Questions? From the commissioners? None? From the audience? Okay, we'll take a roll call vote. Dave Turi, aye.
Sally Frere, aye.
Alex Whiteside, aye.
Jim Wilson, aye.
Al Stone, aye.
Al Finney, aye.
Fred LaBerge, aye.
Okay, it passes. Good luck, Christian.
Thank
And
you.
we look forward to seeing your completed project. When do you think you'll start?
Same time range as Peter, like sometime in March is when I'm planning on starting and finishing it in the spring, earlier preferably.
Okay, well, good luck.
Thank you.
Is there any other correspondence or old business that we should address at this time?
4 Cohasset Ave has asked for a certificate of compliance for their pool, their above ground pool.
Oh, yes, okay.
And if you got that photo sheet, it's the top row of photos. And I think it's Paul, because I had talked with him when we had all that snow, you know, to hold off to have the snow gone, because I need to be able to see the ground in case there was erosion problems or whatever. But I got the go ahead. So I think today I was out there, whenever. And just about most of the snow is gone, you know, and I don't see where they had any erosion problems thus far. So I think they're good to go. That's just my, you know, I walked around and, you know, it's always tough when winter first goes away, but you know, there's no gullies, there's no erosion going up over the siltation barrier that they had. Nothing really that I saw sliding down or anything, and you've got a ways before anything's down to the wetlands at the bottom of the hill.
Okay. Do you have documentation?
I'm sorry?
Do you have any form that needs to be signed?
Yes, it would be the certificate of compliance. And that's either a partial because people want to hold off to make sure it gets more stabilized. Or you can do a full that, if you do a full, that ends our jurisdiction with this site. Then it's all done and we don't go back unless they ask us nicely.
Do you prefer the partial?
No, I think it's good to go. You know, I didn't see anything major. My concern was just erosion. You know, they got the rocks up on the top, you know, they got the leaf there, they've got some ground cover starting to go and everything. So, you know, I think once spring growth comes up through, even last fall, and I don't remember the wife's name, but putting down grass seed and putting down more grass seed, you know how sometimes it's washing out or whatever. So, it should be good to go.
Okay. Questions from the commissioners? From the audience? Okay, I'll accept a motion for, what is it?
Cohasset,
No, it's 4 though, right? Yeah.
number 4, yeah.
Cohasset Avenue, a certificate of compliance.
Alan Finney, so moved.
Allstone, second.
Do we
Any
have
other?
to, David, do we have to close the meeting first on this and then vote for the certificate of compliance?
Have we closed this one, Janet?
Well, I mean, is there any discussion from members?
No.
You know, it's just more of, because it's not the public hearings with the abutters and everything. So this is just more of them, you know, requesting their final paperwork.
Okay.
We could close it to be safe.
So
That's-
moved.
That's,
To make Jim's night.
Yes.
Okay, I'll entertain a motion.
Alan Finney, I make a motion to close 4 Cohasset Ave, NOI 240-0631.
I
Is there a
second,
second?
Jim Wilson.
Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, roll call. Dave Turi, aye.
Sally Fair, aye.
Alex Whiteside, aye.
Jim Wilson, aye.
Allstone, aye.
Al Finney, aye.
Fred LaBerge, aye.
It passes, it's closed. And I'll entertain a motion to
Alan
issue
Finney, I
the
make a
certificate of
motion.
compliance.
I'll make a motion, so moved.
Allstone, second.
Okay, and this is
is that
regarding,
for a full or a partial?
Full, I believe.
Okay,
who seconded that?
Allstone.
Do you agree with that?
Yes, I do.
Okay. Any other discussion? Roll call. Dave Turi, aye.
Sally Fair, aye.
Alex Whiteside, aye.
Jim Wilson, aye.
Allstone, aye.
Alan Finney, aye.
Fred LaBerge, aye.
Okay, this passes. All right. Stephanie, is there anything else that correspondence, or we have the PIP, right, for Southwood?
Yes.
we also have the minutes from February.
Okay. Let's go through the PIP. As you all know, Southwood is in the midst of being purchased. I don't know if it's completed yet, but there's a PIP, which is a petition from the neighbors. What, correct, Janet?
Hey, when they did it for the other property, we had the same type of issue in town.
Yeah,
The way it works is the state doesn't have anybody that goes out and looks at these sites. They just license the people to look
Yeah.
at the sites. So the person who's going to make the report, do the, who has a license and what they're going to test and all of that would be the one that this group should petition to have a PIP and do like they did with the last project and just have a town meeting, a meeting either probably by Zoom, of course, and then, where they explain their project and then have this, participation process so that all the landowners know what's going on in both towns. And then the other project was just in Norfolk, so the materials were left in Norfolk. Their binders, plans, and that type of stuff. So this
Yeah.
one might need to be adjusted so that they, instead of having it at the library, they have it access where people can get to it on their computer.
okay. And, okay,
But I guess the real question is, they want us to they're petitioning, asking us to make a PIP for not their property, but for someone else's property who's not in front of us yet.
right. Which I don't think we can.
I agree with you.
Yeah, we don't want to go down that pathway again. Okay, I'll work with Janet and I think we can come up with who to send some information to, as you said, Jim, so that they petition the right person.
Yeah, because it was made public, the land transaction and who was in, what group was in charge. And they already had a pretty large meeting, made it open to the public. And I think if they just sent an email to, the new owners, they would be more than happy to, have public involvement. I don't know why they wouldn't. Make it a lot easier for them to take all the plans, put it on a website so that everybody can look at them and
Yeah,
converse with them directly.
yeah, and they've got to rework the plans that they have. They're encroaching on the railroad bed, and you can't do that. That's illegal. So, okay, good advice. So Janet, we got a few things to talk about. Maybe tomorrow, maybe next Monday, since you don't work on Friday. Every day is a Friday to me. Okay, the minutes from February, did everybody have a chance to read them? And any questions, edits, comments?
I had a couple. One is when in Seacon
Okay, I'll
Street,
accept them.
about 3/4 of the way down, it talks about Tetra Tech and the engineers. I think the can should be switched to will review, because it says in the engineers can review. I think it should, or do review. It sounds a little odd. I don't know if you can see where that is. And the last one would be when we were talking about 1 and 2 Hanover Street. I would just like to add in where it says has never allowed building within the buffers. I think it should say within the 0 to 50-foot buffers, so we make that clear.
Okay. Come on, come on, come on, come on.
I don't see the Hanover.
Yeah.
It's right there.
Yes, building within the 0 to 50-foot buffers. And I did email the town manager to let her know, Blythe, that what had transpired, so she didn't get a blind call of somebody being angry. And she stated that they were well aware of the property and their limits, and that they needed to do their research first before purchasing. So,
They did their due diligence.
yeah, they didn't do any due diligence because there was, I think on one of the properties, they could have built like a 1 foot by 4 foot house.
Yeah.
Shed, yeah.
And that was about it.
Buyer beware. Okay, yeah, if you would make those edits, Stephanie.
Yes.
Any other questions or comments regarding the February 2nd minutes? Then I'll accept a motion to accept the minutes as edited.
I'll make a motion to accept the minutes from the February meeting as edited by Jim Wilson. Fred LaBerge.
Is there a second?
Alex Whiteside, second.
Any further discussion? Dave Turri, aye.
Alex Whiteside, aye.
Jim Wilson, aye.
Val Stone, aye.
Al Finney, aye.
Fred LaBerge, aye.
Okay, they're accepted. Any other correspondence or open issues?
None.
Just a point of clarification, the document that we need to sign from tonight, do we make arrangements with you, Stephanie, to come in and sign that?
Yeah, I'll reach out to members.
Okay. And is there just the one?
2, because you'll have the certificate of compliance and
All
then
right, and then Hill's.
determination for the MBTA.
Yep.
Okay. Seeing no other business, we can adjourn tonight.
Motion, someone?
What?
A motion, someone?
Yeah. Wake up, Alan.
Come on, Alan.
Alan Finney, I make a motion to adjourn tonight's meeting.
Charlie Fair, second.
All in favor, say aye.
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 Opposed? It passes. The meeting's closed. I thank everybody for your attendance and input tonight. And let's see what happens in April. Maybe if everybody gets their vaccines, we can, well, Alexandra would have to stay outside, but,
Yeah.
and Stephanie. Yeah, and then,
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, all the young guys.
Yeah.
My husband's getting his vaccine soon. He's a teacher in Brockton, and all public school teachers are officially on the list this week. I'm very excited because all the kiddos are coming back, and I want them to be vaccinated.
Yep, that's a good thing. All right, well, have a good night.
Good night, all.
Good night, everyone.
Downtown
Thank
soon.
you.